Oh,
Just
great.
like we tape
We
all
are
our-
videotaping?
Yeah, we're,
Are we on?
We're on.
Where's the camera?
Right over there.
Stella?
All right, I'd like to call the April 7th meeting of the Police and Fire Commission to order. Let the record show Commissioners Dorf, Schaaf, Nelson, and Goldhahn are present. Commissioner Mallett is excused. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the Police and Fire Commission meeting held March 3rd, 2016.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Dorf, seconded by Commissioner Schaaf. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, meetings are approved. President's report, just a couple items. First, I'd like to congratulate Commissioner Dorf on her city council victory. Going to be sorry to see you go. You'll have a much bigger impact than the city council, so congratulations on
I'll
that.
be sorry to go.
Congrats.
And just a reminder that we have interviews next week on the 11th and the 13th from 1 to 7. Communications, we have the budget status report and spreadsheet. Fairly high this year, but it looks like some one-time expenses. We had all the firefighter physicals and drug screens, so that's a one-time, and then the patrol officer exams. That's also a one-time expense. So I'll entertain a motion to receive and place on file.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Shaw,
Second?
seconded by Commissioner Dorf. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll receive and place those on file. I'm going to jump to agenda item 8. Since the bills that we have in the packet are the same ones that pertain to those, I'll entertain a motion to authorize payment.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Dorf, seconded by Commissioner Nelson. Any further discussion? Hearing
Just
none?
ones in the back.
Yep, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, authorize payment of the bills. Next item on the agenda is final action on the proposal to amend Article 3, Officers, Section 2 of the bylaws. So in your packet, you received a copy of the bylaws with that portion lined out that Commissioner Nelson recommended last meeting. So we've had the 30-day period for the commissioners to consider that. I'll entertain a motion to approve or reject, and then we'll open discussion on it.
So moved.
Move to approve?
Correct.
Uh,
Yes.
A motion to approve by Commissioner Dorf, Commissioner Schaaf, a second by Commissioner Nelson. Any discussion on the item?
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
And then all the names will be changed at the end.
Yeah, we did a check. We don't necessarily have to have all the signatures on those at the time. But I think as Commissioner Nelson talked last time, we may have a fair amount of turnover in the commission, and so having this as a artificial item in there, we'll still have the elections every 2 years, but we're not forced into a change if it's not the right thing for the commission at that time. Any further discussion? If not, I'll ask for a vote on the motion to amend Article 3, Section 2 of the bylaws to strike the item that's lined through in the materials that we received. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll make that change. The next item, report from the chiefs. Since we have patrol officer reviews, Chief Neff, we'll start with you.
Okay. Just a few things to talk about today. Our public education officer, that position was vacated. Lieutenant Nick Craig was in there for 8 years and requested, which is his rightful by contract, to go back to the floor and be a firefighter. This happened in January. So that position's been open for a while. We struggled to fill it. The time came and went that the posting came down, and we just kind of were patient with it, and we kept putting the word out and kept encouraging people, and we got a guy. So a young man named Cody Johnson has stepped up. Cody's been with us 2 years. In my opinion, he's the right personality for that kind of job, to be out in the public, to meet people, to talk to kids, to work with the elderly. One of the major reasons our ISO rating went up was the incredible progress Nick made in that office as far as community outreach and stuff like that. So we want to continue that. I think Cody's the guy to do it. Cody will be starting on Monday. He's enthusiastic, and I think it's a good fit. So Nick will be coming back for the next 2 weeks to train Cody and get him up to speed. And there will certainly be a learning curve there. It's an entirely new concept for him, but we appreciate him stepping up, and I think it's gonna be a good fit for us. We also-
Where did Dick go? Out
Nick,
in the field?
Nick is an engineer at Station 8. He fell into the slot of driver engineer, so. And then, you know, Nick did a great job, but everybody comes here to be a fireman. And it's really difficult to argue with a guy that says, you know, I've done the best I can in here, but I really want to go be a fireman for a while. So you know, you hate to lose a guy, but you also don't want to discourage him from doing the job that he signed up for in the first place. So we understand it, it's kind of part of the business. I appreciate that we got 8 years out of Nick, because he took a job that basically wasn't much. It was nothing more than a concept when he went in there, and he turned it into something quite good. I mean, what we've been able to do in the community, the progress we made getting into schools, Nick and I did some things in the high schools. The thing that we did in November with the 8th graders was fantastic, and that's only gonna get bigger. So I think we really have a great basis for Cody to run with. I think it's gonna go well. We also now have a potential vacancy in the fire marshal's office. So we have 3 fire marshals. We have Captain Gabe that runs the division, and then we have 2 investigative lieutenants. One of the lieutenants is exercising his right to bid back to the floor. By contract, I have to let him bid. However, I don't have to let him go if I don't have a replacement, and that's not a division I'm running short. I can't do that. So we're recruiting for that. We posted that position. That posting came and went, and nobody put their name in. I'm doing my usual marketing and recruiting, and I'm going to find somebody. I've got a potential guy, but it's tough to get guys to give up being a fireman to come into these positions and take on more responsibility. And in a lot of cases, unless you're a young guy, in a lot of cases, you end up making less money. And it's not ideal. It's something that everybody knows, but the answers have not been easy to get to how to fix this stuff. So you gotta work sometimes to talk people into do this, and when you usually get people that just care enough that are willing to make that sacrifice. So I've got a guy that I've had my eye on that I think can do this job, and I'm gonna talk to him again tomorrow, and I'm hoping that he's gonna be willing to step up and do that. So, but it's an ongoing challenge for us to fill some of these administrative roles when you're asking guys to stop being a fireman. And there's no financial incentive to it, they just have to really want to do it that bad. So I got a guy, I hope we have good news for you in a few weeks, but that's where we're at. Chief Litton also wanted me to let you know where he's at on my replacement. He will be interviewing next week. He's going to do 2 sets of interviews. He's going to interview by himself. There are 2 candidates up there. I don't know if he's told you who they are, but they're both battalion chiefs. He's going to interview by himself the first time, and then he's going to interview a second time where Chief Elliott and myself will all be there. And by the 25th, he hopes to have announced somebody and then have that person be able to shadow me for 5 weeks so that we can get up to speed and they don't walk into what I walked into, which is there's your phone and there's your desk. Have a nice time. So I've done a lot to build everything that it's going to be an easy handoff and people are just going to go with it. I mean, I put a lot of thought into that because that's something I believe in. You don't want to start over. You want to keep going. So I think it'll go just fine. They're both qualified candidates, so you know whatever the chief decides is going to be fine. The last thing that I have for you is in 2015, the city commissioned a study of all city-owned buildings, all facilities. So this is I'm doing this for dramatic effect. Okay, so this is my report right here. 362 pages. Burns and Schober is a local engineering company that studied all of our facilities and said, here's the stuff you probably need to address.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so it's not a small undertaking. They broke down their assessment. I'm assuming the chief has a similar study on his desk, as does every department head in town. They broke it down into, you need to fix this now, and then when you're done with that, you need to fix this pretty fast, and then in the next 3 to 5 years, you need to fix this. The immediate category is $660,000. So what I'm doing, first of all, is I'm trying to make this a little more readable for the chief to move forward with, because there's a lot going on here. And so I'm trying to condense it for him, which I have finished that, to say this is the immediate stuff, and here's what I think we have to address. Some of it is a matter of opinion, but most of it is legitimate stuff. Air quality issues, a lot of things. I have 8 buildings to maintain with a $120,000 a year budget, and that also has to pay for broken garage doors and all the other things. It's not doable, okay? There's money's got to come from somewhere else, and that's our next challenge, is now that we've all got these, is to say, all right, you told me what's wrong, how would you like me to go about attacking that? So that's where we're at now, and we're gonna try to address that stuff the best we can, but this is gonna take quite some time to work through. You know, our buildings, I mean, I've got a 1929, I've got a 1936, so we've got some challenges ahead of us, but we're doing the best we can do to analyze it and put together some type of a plan as to how we're gonna attack it, and then we'll have to seek the funding and see what the city's response to that is, and if they're willing to get this done, we'll get it done.
Is that 660,000 just on the fire building?
Just my buildings.
Just your
Just my buildings, yep. So I have 7 buildings, 6 active stations, headquarters, and the maintenance shop.
So the price tag for all city properties must be,
Or it could be quite higher. The total amount in here is $1.5 million for the, all the way through the 5 years. And there's some ADA stuff in there, but a lot of it's air quality, some code issues, things like that, and I certainly want to be up to code. I'm out enforcing them, I want to be up to code. But just things that got away, or things that the money wasn't there to deal with in the first place, and in buildings age, you know, they just do. So it's a big challenge, but we're working our way through it, and we'll get to it, and we'll do the best we can.
With the plan with the police station, is that a plan that's for police, fire, city hall? Is that just the police, you know, doing the police station?
What they're studying right now,
Oh.
and you can speak to this a little bit too, but I believe is to have our administrative staff have a portion of that building.
That's
That
what my
would-
understanding is as well.
Which would take care of the Station 1 problem.
That's what I was just gonna ask.
Right.
Yeah, and is that part of that 660,000?
Station 1 is in there, right?
It's in there.
And we'll
So
certainly
that- okay.
we'll make intelligent decisions on Station 1 based
Right.
on how we feel this is going to, because maybe we
Right.
will not get as aggressive at Station 1 if we know that we're going to
Right.
have success here. However, the timeline on this public safety building is not a short one either. There's a lot that has to go into getting that done, so. One of the other things that we're working together with, and I don't know how up to speed you are on this, but I've been talking to Captain Abel, is that if we could share a joint facility, a storage type building that could be put on lesser valued property somewhere, we could eliminate some of our storage issues, and it could also help the police department not need quite so much space in this main building. And we're gonna try to add that to the plan and make that a part of the plan. There's some property that we already own, and something like that could help, because Station 1 not only houses our office, but also houses backup equipment. And police have similar things that they would like to just be able to store, but maybe they don't have to be downtown. So we're gonna address that as well in this plan, and hopefully, between the two things, we can solve some problems. Thank you. Any questions for the chief? Great, thank you.
Well, is this
My
yours?
turn.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready, yeah.
All right.
Okay, there's a couple things I'd like to update you. Just, first of all, to bring you up to speed on the homicide that we had over there on Day Street on Saturday night. We obviously know who did it, we know who held the gun, we know who his accomplice was, and since we're obviously being recorded, I won't give out any state secrets. This gentleman, or this individual who was the shooter, was involved in a dispute with a person that was staying at that house over there on Day Street. He went over there, we believe, with the intent to kill this person. As another person walked up to the front steps, the person he was trying to kill opened the door, took a look out. The individual, Mr. Arrington, shot multiple times out of his vehicle and struck the wrong guy. And so the guy who's dead, no angel, but he's turned his life around, had been working really hard, and a 6-day-a-week employee was killed. The intended target is now in jail on an unrelated charge. And the suspect is somewhere between probably Milwaukee, where he has relatives and family and friends, and here. We believe that he's being assisted by some people in the community here, so our full intent is to prosecute them once we get him into custody. But we've got a lot of good leads and a lot of things we're following up on, and we're getting a lot of good tips from the community, so that's heartening, and I'm confident that that one's going to result in an arrest, hopefully quickly. Second thing I'd like to talk to you is the DUI, or the OWI task force that the mayor talked about in the state of the city. He directed the fire chief and I to get together and come up with a bunch of recommendations and a task force of what we can do. I think there's already a Brown County alcohol task force out there that's looking at the alcohol issues with respect to the region and even all of Wisconsin. What we're thinking more is the getting behind the car when you've been drinking, and what can we do about that. So we're looking at a strong education campaign, starting with the kids in school and followed up with all the people that own bars and that have bar licenses and people that work in bars about over-serving people. Then we're going to try and do an education campaign with the folks that are patrons of these bars, with posters in the bars, with high visibility things on the street. One of the things we're doing is we're taking an old decommissioned police car. We're going to paint the back half of it, and the DOT, Department of Transportation, is going to pay for this. Paint the back half like a taxi cab, park in front of a bar with a sign that says, "You choose your ride tonight." You know, ride a taxi and make it home, or we'll give you a ride in a police car. We also talked about getting a couple extra motorcycles, so we have 2 now. We're going to lease 2 more over the summer is the plan, so we'll have a total of 4 motorcycles. I'd like to use those in high visibility DUI patrols on Friday, Saturday nights mostly, also Sunday probably. The mayor's asked how much money we would need for all the things we're talking about. I have to talk with Chief Litton a little bit more, but we're talking about getting giant banners for our police vehicle, our police truck, and putting it outside, have a DUI or OWI, gotta get my nomenclature right, OWI enforcement nights, park that out in one of the areas on Broadway or Washington or wherever we're having problems, make sure everybody knows about it. And then a heavy component of arrests and making a ton of arrests. We already have a boost in money from DOT to do OWI task forces, so I'm hopeful that between increasing arrests, education campaign, high visibility stuff, and educating our youth, that we can really make a difference, and hopefully we will knock down this.
Did he get an
problem.
alder on that committee yet? Because he asked for.
He did, and he came into my office the other night, and he sits up front next to Tom Duane and Stoyer. Yeah, he's asked to do it, but if you'd like to
I
be part of
wanted
it,
to,
love to have you
absolutely.
as part of that.
Because he wanted 2
Perfect.
alders, so.
Yeah, I'd love to have you as part of that.
absolutely. Would love to.
So I'll let you know when the next meeting is. We haven't really had a meeting. We've been meeting kind of informally, but we're looking at the first part
Maybe
of
do I
next
have to
week.
ask the mayor? Maybe do I have to ask the mayor? Like, can you on it? I mean, I
Well,
don't know.
You can certainly come to the meeting.
I'll come to the
Help with
meeting,
that.
and
then
I'm meeting
we'll-
with mayor on Tuesday. so
Perfect.
I will ask him to be on
Perfect.
it.
The Drug Alliance is being, it's a subgroup of that Bellin Hospital
Mhm.
drug, and
Mhm.
they address the youth issue, and the health department is coordinating it now, and they're applying for a grant that might be able to address and work with you on some of those projects that you want to do. in
Yeah, that'd be
school age
terrific.
kids.
I love the idea of collaborating with stuff that's
I'll give
already
you-
going on.
I'll give you her name before, and who's writing the grant, and you might be able to collaborate with her and include some of it.
Great, great. The inspection is, as I mentioned, it's going to be May 14th, 8 o'clock in the morning. You're all invited. If you haven't received a formal invitation, one will follow. Should be about 2 hours long. We've already got community members that have donated food. We've got the Pastor Lentz, who's going to be cooking, and so he's volunteered to do that, so we're really excited about it. I think it's going to be a really neat thing for everybody. We're working on a strategic plan, as I mentioned in my last meeting. One of the things we formed up is a committee of officers and in the department to work on a SWOT analysis, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So you're probably getting an email from them. I know they sent one out to all the alderpersons now to get their take on what's good, what's working, what's not, and what we can do. Getting a pretty good, over 100 responses so far. So I know the officers sometimes feel like you're getting killed with different surveys and whatnot, but I think we're getting some pretty good participation on this, so that's good. They should have an answer in about 30 days, and we'll incorporate their recommendations into the strategic plan that we're working on. Let's see, building RFP went out, and that is out, went out about a week or so ago. Haven't had anything back yet, but it'll be interesting. It'll be a space needs assessment, and that's what this RFP was, so I guess it went out last week. Contract negotiations are continuing. We met just Tuesday. Obviously, I don't want to get too much into depth on that, but I'm feeling pretty good that I think we're getting close to something that they can bring back to their membership for a vote. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this is going to work out, because I think it'd be terrific for all of us. I'd like to, one of the things that I'm going to have to wait until after the contract gets signed is to appoint a juvenile officer, someone to work with our juvenile programs and to run our juvenile programs. As it stands now, I'd have to pick the senior person that signs up for it. What I'd really like to do is pick the most qualified person, the person who's most enthused about working with youth and doing youth programs, explorers. We're doing the bring your own 5 basketball stuff over the summer, going out and helping the school resource officers. So my plan is now I'm going to do it temporary. I can do a 90-day assignment without having to post it. So I'd like to pick someone and see who wants to volunteer, but pick someone for a 90-day assignment, see if they like it, see if they're a good fit. If not, we'll try someone else for another 90 days, and eventually I'd like it to be a full-time position. And we get some really good candidates, people that at one point were volunteering to come in on their own time to work with kids. So that's the kind of person that I think would be a good candidate, someone who's that kind of dedication. And the final thing, I ran by Mr. Mayor the other day, and he got approval to start off in exploring the idea of a police foundation. And I think I might have mentioned that to you a little bit before, but the idea would be a 501c3. Give you a perfect example. One of the Packers wanted to donate a dog to us, but he said, I got to give it to 501c3 for tax purposes and whatnot. Well, so my canine guy said, hey, let's start up a canine 501c3. And I said, hey, let's start up a Green Bay Police Foundation 501c3, and we can do all kinds of things besides just this dog. We can do, I mean, the sky's the limit. The LAPD Foundation that I'm familiar with over the course of the past 10 or 15 years has taken in and dispersed to the departments at like $23 million. I know that's a huge amount for a city like Green Bay, but there's so many things that I think people would be willing to get on board to help out. One of the cops said, hey, what about tactical vests for guys? If we go to an active shooter, have a vest in the trunk, the body armor that they can throw on over whatever they're wearing so that they would feel a little more safe going in one-on-one with a person armed with a rifle. Maybe a ballistic helmet along with that. Also, when we had the candidates coming here, we really don't have a mobile field force, which is a group of officers that are trained in dealing with crowd management, crowd control. It's something that I've done a million times, I feel quite comfortable with, but none of our guys have ever really had that opportunity. We had Hillary's thing here at the Riverside Ballroom, and we had half a dozen people protesting, and they were reasonable, and they didn't get too violent, but as the fall progresses, that might be something we want to have people trained up on. So that would mean providing them with the proper baton, the proper helmet, maybe a shield to use in crowd control, crowd management type of situations. But that would be a perfect thing for a police foundation to fund outside of the city. I hate to go to the mayor and the city council for everything. It'd be nice to be able to have some of that stuff funded and have a foundation that does it. So that's kind of that, unless you have any questions about anything.
So is there active, you said the mayor?
Mayor said, yeah, sounds like a great idea, go ahead, you'll probably get $1 million.
Okay, so someone's actively pursuing that?
Oh yeah, and I have two people in my office that actually went to school for that. One is Ben Allen, who's kind of taking the lead. He's got his master's degree, and one of the things he studied was, formation of nonprofits or nonprofits.
Oh.
And then Melanie in crime prevention said, that's my bag, that's what I was always wanted to do. So I have those two, and along with myself, of course, working on it from the station. We've already met with a few community leaders. I've got a surgeon from Bellin Hospital who said, I'd love to be on your board. So I think it'd be neat.
And the community foundation helps set 501c3s up around the community. So
Right, that's
they
what someone was
yeah.
telling me about that, so that might be a good way to could happen.
Yeah, they would be able to help with
And Ben's got an attorney who said he'll write up whatever we need as far as, the bylaws and all that other business. So, people are coming up saying, wow, what a great idea, let's move forward with that. So I'm excited about that, I think it's gonna be neat.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Great.
So I think that's it, and a snapshot of what's going on.
Any questions for the chief? Great, thank you. The other two items we have on the agenda are all dealing with patrol officer candidates. Chief, I don't know if you want to hang around or...
I'll let you handle it. I
Good to
see
see
everybody
everybody.
again.
When's your retirement date?
Get in the class.
57 days and 35 minutes roughly.
I will see you again.
Good for you.
Take care, everybody.
All right, thanks a lot.
I'll see you, chief. All right, next item is voluntary removal of patrol officer candidates. In your packet, there was a request from two of our candidates to be taken off of the active list because they've taken jobs at other jurisdictions and are happy with those jobs and don't want to be considered anymore for Green Bay. So I entertain a motion to approve both of those. Moved by Commissioner Shaw, seconded by Commissioner Dorf. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll remove those two candidates from our active list. Next item is review of patrol officer candidates. The commission may convene in closed session pursuant to sections 19.85, paragraph 1, sub C and F Wisconsin statutes to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. The commission may thereafter reconvene in open session pursuant to section 19.85, paragraph 2, Wisconsin statutes, to report the results of the closed session and consider the balance of the agenda. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Dorf, seconded by Commissioner Nelson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are in closed session.
I thought we had voted.
All right, we're back in open session. While in closed session, we reviewed two candidates. One candidate we eliminated from the process. The other candidate, we are continuing in the hiring process. All right, we already discussed item 8 in conjunction with item 4. So the next item is the date of the next meeting. In our regular sequence, that would be May 5th at 3 p.m. Does that work for folks? All right, very good. That being the end of the agenda, entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Commissioner Nelson,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Dorf. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Did you set the meeting date yet, or are you and the chief still working on that for the OWI?